As the world descends into more and more chaos, we see different threat packages, we see different types of attacks that are more and more effective against the good forces of the world. We realize that law enforcement are not the end-all be-all. They may not be able to get to you in time. They may be too underfunded to get to you in time. How can a civilian learn the skills to protect themselves in such a quickly evolving combat space that used to be our homes, right? How can law enforcement professionals keep up with the trends and changes in tactics? How can private security professionals keep up with the changes, the trends, and the tactics, the evolution of our many different battle spaces we traverse, some of us knowing it and some of us not having any idea? The answer to this equation is a live event I've put together called the Protector Symposium. The Protector Symposium is one event where I bring together the best, the top, the most elite trainers in the world to give you a synergy of skills to help protect yourselves, your loved ones, your clients, or those you've sworn to protect. These events are no joke, they're hardcore, so buckle up, and if you want to learn it all in one place, keep watching. Check out what we've got for Protector Symposium 4.0. This is something the world has never seen before. For this event, we've got an all-star cast. As always, Lieutenant Colonel Grossman. He's the author of some groundbreaking seminal books on combat, on killing. He helps you understand the psychology of combat, what you're going to experience, what the enemy's going to experience, and everything around those topics so that you can be as efficient and effective as you can, as possible, when you're faced with actual real life violence. If you haven't gotten his books, you need to get them. He has been speaking to organizations and corporations and agencies around the world for many years now, not to mention his own military career. And so it's an honor to have Lieutenant Colonel Grossman in the house to teach the soft skills portion. Now, the other instructors we have will be teaching hard skills and soft skills. So you'll learn from all these guys from the podium in the auditorium and also hands-on on the field, on the range. We're going full bore into combatives and personal protection. The subjects and topics we have are broken into two different categories this year: integrated combatives and vehicle-centric combat operations. How do you go from hand-to-hand tactics to using a firearm to even drawing and implementing a blade, right? How do you do these things efficiently and effective? We've got two of the world's top trainers coming in to teach. The first one is Tony from Real World Tactical. He is a beast. The man is a monster, and he's one of my favorite influencers because he represents for the big boys in the game. He can move, he's agile, he's strong, he will fight you, he will shoot at you, he's capable. He's a full spectrum warrior, and he's got what he's got out here in his physical body. He's got more than enough up here with decades of experience, training many different agencies all over the United States. Tony has literally established a pedigree of instruction and a pedigree of professional that I believe is a contribution that is more like legacy work than anything else. Tony, as a human being, is a really cool guy, but his training is going to take you to the next level. It's going to be hard, it's going to be intense, and there's nothing about anything that we're going to be doing on the range or even in the mat rooms for this training operation that has to do with just a square range. So it's an honor for us to be able to learn from Tony. This is legendary, you guys. The next one we have coming up for integrated combatives is Mohonkey. Mohonkey is another amazing instructor with an amazing background in military, law enforcement, SWAT, all that stuff. He currently teaches internationally. He teaches a number of different agencies and organizations around the world integrated combatives. He's got some of the highest ranks when it comes to different knife fighting systems and martial arts systems, and he's going to be taking us through the paces of understanding how to implement all of those things, from hand-to-hand to firearms to blades, all those different things. So you're going to get two top-of-the-line instructors on integrated combatives in one place. This is going to be amazing. And then on the other side, vehicle-centric combat operations. How do you fight in a car and how do you fight around a car? To teach us how to fight inside a car, we've got none other than the infamous Craig Douglas, aka South Narc. He has been training agencies and different police departments internationally inside the United States, all over the world for decades as well. And he has some of the most realistic training. You are going to sweat, you're going to bang, you're going to roll, you're going to shoot, you're going to do all these things with none other than the infamous Craig Douglas, and it's an honor to have him back. He helped us with our last Hard Skills Intensive, and his training was something that I will never forget for the rest of my life. Now, to teach us how to fight around our vehicles, we're going to have the living legend Mike Pannone in the house, y'all. And he's another amazing instructor with an amazing pedigree from Delta Force and the unit to the Marine Corps, one of the stakeholders for the Air Marshal program. He's been literally teaching different government agencies as well as police departments all over the United States, all over the world for years now. One of the first guys, doing contracting in the Iraq war and stuff like that. He is a personal friend, a man I really respect, and someone who I know is going to deliver training to you guys that's not just about fun, but it's about competency. All of these instructors are all about competency and putting in the work. So if you're looking for one event that's going to be something that the world's never seen before, an opportunity of a lifetime, literally to learn from all of these amazing living legends in one place, it's going to be the Protector Symposium 4.0 taking place this October 1st through the 3rd in Southern Florida. Do not miss it. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event. I will be your host. I will be training with you. I'll be learning with you. I'll be sweating with you, Byron Rodgers, and we are going to take our protection skills to the next level. So whether you're in law enforcement, you're a private security professional, or you're just a responsible civilian that wants to understand the art of protection on a very, very high and competent level, join us for this live event. It's going to be something that you better not miss it. I look forward to seeing you guys out there. This is Byron Rodgers, protector by nature and by trade, reminding you to be peaceful, but not harmless. I can't wait to train with you. Out. Boom!
Well, that was super intense, everybody. How's it going? My name is Gian. Welcome to the Funker Tactical Podcast. I got a dope one for you guys today. I got Byron Rodgers in the house. I'll skip the introductions. This is a man you need to hear from directly. Byron Rodgers, what's going on, brother? How are you?
Boom. What's up, you guys, man? It's an honor to be here to finally catch up with you, brother. I'm honored. That video gets me excited every time I see it, man. It's like, yeah, man, it's good stuff. It's an honor to be able to assist in bringing this to the community, honestly.
So what exactly is this Protector Symposium? Is it for everybody? Who can attend? Who will most greatly benefit from attending? Talk to us all about it. How did it come about?
Yeah, really, it just came down to all the violence we're seeing and the packages, like everything's changing so quickly. It's the age of information. Mexico being one of the most sophisticated battlefields that we have on the planet, that's right down the street and is bleeding into kind of our world all the time. I just was thinking, like, how can I do something for the training community that's different, that hasn't been done, where someone can get and really learn a lot of tools in these like pods in a spectrum, of like a situation, so we're looking at transitional spaces. We're looking at real world combative stuff. Where do 80%, 90% of attacks happen? In transitional spaces around your vehicle. Since I've been posting these real world combative situations, I've gotten to see a whole bunch of these things kind of at a hyper rate. And I'm seeing a lot of non-conventional, nothing square range. Very rarely do the good guys get their, isosceles or their firing platform established. It's fluid, it's athletic. And so the premise for this one is really, how can we get preparation for that type of violence into the DNA of protectors, civilians who are just out there, a single mom, who's walking home, or going from her workplace to her vehicle. What can she really depend on to get through that situation? So, and law enforcement officers, they're out there. They're going to be dealing with these things. What can I get to them that's valuable? Professional protectors like myself, what do we need to know that's valuable? So the Protector Symposium is broken down into two halves: soft skills, 1 full day of soft skills. You'll hear from Lieutenant Colonel Grossman and all of the other specialists from the podium to get the ideas, the ideologies, the principles, the theory behind what they teach, the soft skills, which very often can be enough. But then the next 2 days, you'll get a hard skills package where you will wagon wheel through those 4 hands-on instructors and really just you'll get put through your paces. So it really is designed for no matter where you are on the spectrum of competencies to be able to show up and increase your IQ, your PQ, protection quotient.
Hey, can you still hear me okay? Some weird stuff happened. What's that?
I've got you loud and clear.
Okay. Are you getting feedback or anything like that? No?
No.
We're good?
No, just the ringing in my ears. It's just always there for my rack.
All right. I guess we can deal with it like this. All right. So again, Byron Rodgers, can you talk to us about your personal history, your journey? What makes you somebody that we can determine to be credible? Because we are on the internet.
Yeah, and we are on the internet.
And we got to be quick with it, right? So what's up with you? Who are you?
Yeah, man. So really, I'm just a young man, dude. I was born into this world. I knew I was a warrior from the time I was young. I asked God to give me a path to let me find a positive way to be that in this world and to contribute to positively with that. Since I was a young man, I found myself being driven towards the Marine Corps. So Marine Corps infantry, 2 deployments to Iraq. I was an anti-tank, 0351 anti-tank assaultman with 3-1 Lima company. That was 04 to 08. At the culmination of that, I went straight into the executive protection industry by the grace of God. Right time, right place, right relationships at age 21. My first year, I was on one of the most traveled executive protection details in the United States. We traveled more than the Secret Service and the president. Hit 60 some countries that first year. I did that on repeat for 7 years. So for me, it was like drinking out of a fire hose. Team started out with 13, ended with 2, me and one other guy. Still have a great relationship with that client. Wanted to live a normal life. So I got into the industry down in Florida, rebuilt my books down there, learned a lot about the industry and what it takes to be successful in this industry. And then moved back to Cali because, Cali's just one of them things. Moved back to Cali and rebuilt my books there and eventually built my own private security company down here. We put teams and systems around VIPs to keep them and their families safe. So the only job I've ever had is protection. I either been fighting in a war for America on foreign soil, or I've been protecting VIPs both here and all over the world in well over 60 countries at this point. So it's really, I've just slept and breathed protection. And I think it's one of the most positive ways as a warrior I can contribute. So that's kind of my background. And then what I do, I have an EP school. I build these events to help other people multiply the protection quotient in our communities because we're the first responders.
Folks who have a military background can sometimes find it difficult to communicate with civilians, particularly within the context of trying to teach them anything.
Yeah.
Really. What advice do you have, and what makes you an effective communicator for both the people who understand your language, people who did that thing over there that rarely, very few comparatively humans ever get to experience? So how do you transition that communication methodology from one world into another? What are some similarities? What are some differences? How do you adjust?
Yeah, Paulo. I always, what I love about your content is it's always so well thought out, man. I've been on 100 different podcasts. No one asked me this question ever,
Right. Thank you.
that is, I really appreciate that about you, man. And I love that you don't hesitate to stir the pot. If it needs to be said, if it needs to be challenged, you be challenging it. You know what I'm saying?
Context matters. I can get away with it. So
heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. No, I love it, dude. So for me, to be completely honest with you, man, I was raised by women. I have 5 sisters. So my communication style, men, we tend to communicate to solve problems. Females tend to communicate to connect. It's all about the connection and the emotion and understanding. So I have a very feminine communication style based on what I've studied. I also have a master's degree in the counseling of psychology with a minor in forensic psychology.
Damn. Damn.
So I try, I'm a black dude, man. I'm trying to bring the average up. You know what I'm saying? Trying to represent, trying to make us look good. There's somebody on the screen that making us look good is what I'm trying to do.
I love
So
it.
yeah, man. I've studied, I'm well studied, and communication is really what that whole degree was truly about, understanding people's drives and all those different things. And then I've been big in the self-help and part of education. So I've read over 300 and some odd self-help books and things like that. But where that came in was I wrote a book called Finding Meaning After the Military, because I saw so many of my veterans tapping out. So I went into a deep dive. That's a whole other podcast, really about what that's about. And so that really helped me evolve my communications tactics and principles, and the different things I implement there. Really, I've got a certification from Tony Robbins Training Institute on strategic interventionist tactics. So I understand a lot about it there as well, and got a number of different certificates from top life coaches and things like that. So I've actually studied communication extensively. And now, because of this question, you know what? I see a lot of the value in it, other than implementing it in my everyday tactics, man.
Man, there's a sophistication to your approach. There's a deep level of consideration to your approach. There's also something to be said about simplicity, right? Because a lot of the instructors that we come across are like, keep it simple. Just fucking shoot. Just shoot the damn thing. But that doesn't always work for somebody who doesn't understand that language and can't effectively digest and react to that kind of stimulus, right?
Right. Or they overcomplicate it so they look cool, And I see sophistication. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, man.
Hey.
Leonardo da Vinci on it. And if you think you're going to implement it under stress, you better really, really understand the simplicity of it. Like, you want those tools to be simple. The nuances, it's good on social media, but when it comes to teaching people, and that's one of the things I'm really excited about with the instructors we bring in. They teach people all over the spectrum all the time. So they're able to meet people at their relative levels of efficacy and ability when it comes to protection tactics, weapon play, hand-to-hand stuff, and all that. So there's something for everyone there for sure.
Speaking about sophistication and going along these lines of social media, you're a very stylish dude. You're a good-looking man.
Thanks, man. I try to.
I'm not afraid to admit that.
Thank you, man.
But there are some archetypal images of the tactical instructor, right? That have remained, and you seem to revel in wanting to break those down. Why? What is it about you? Is there something about you that just wants to knock down doors, break through barriers, and experience things that others don't?
Yes, man. I really have. I mean, this is another one of them good ones, man. It's a deep question, because my whole life has really been about, I've spent a lot of time with billionaires and powerful people. And I've grown up in the King's Court, essentially, from 21 on, being around in private jets and palaces and 7 diamond hotels and things like that. And I've seen these people, and there's a muscle that some of them, not all of them, money doesn't get you much of anything, and the journey gives you everything. But there's a muscle that I believe is the most important muscle for a human being to cultivate. And that is the ability to be authentic. Bruce Lee talks about, and I'll butcher it, but he talks in essence about being able to be 100% authentic. And it's a muscle, so that when you want it, it's there. And my father also is a very powerful man as well. In the Bahamas, he got shot at point blank range with a shotgun. He's done some things, but he's another very authentic human. And I've really studied and marveled at a human's ability, because when you start paying attention to it and you see how different situations actually truly impact you, your ability to be grounded and authentic, it's your superpower. It's scary, it's exciting, but it's the most validating and fulfilling thing that you can do if you can execute it at a higher percentage of the time. And so for me, not being that cool, right? I'm a Marine Corps infantryman. Who cares? I mean, like, who cares? I'm not Delta. I'm not Navy SEAL. I'm not CIA or anything cool. I'm just a dude who fought in a war for the Marine Corps. So I had to really approach this thing as like, yo, bro, what can you truly do to contribute to an industry where the instructors have so much more than you have, at face value? And so that's why, I've really taken the approach of doing things the way that I feel I was sent here to do them. A lot of my events and stuff, they're not about me. They're not about how cool Byron is. They're about making a contribution to people, leveraging legit dudes who you should be listening and paying attention to, that aren't just killing it in the social media world, but are actually legit guys with the dirt time, the experience, people that I look up to, giving you a package of training, really, that is going to really genuinely help you get to the next level. And it's not just sizzle, you know what I'm saying? And so even with my podcast, with everything I do, it's, if you really pay attention, it's not really about me. It's about a young man trying to extract value from what's really already there and a contribution to our community. That is something that's just extremely valuable. High value contributions. That's my secret weapon.
Let me segue then, because so much of the offerings in the tactical community, they don't necessarily, outside of technology, they don't like innovation, right? This is how you pull the trigger. This is how you navigate through this hallway.
Yeah.
This is how it's always been done. Is there room for innovation in the actual tactical community? Where do we find it? And if we do find it, how do we share it without feeling alienated? Real quick, when I started in the tactical industry, I gave myself the name GN. It stands for gun noob.
Outstanding.
I knew immediately that my innovation, my original offering, wasn't one that was or that could ever be founded in expertise.
Right.
So I wanted to be the guy who asks the questions, and I'm asking you the question now: how can there still be innovation in something that humans have been doing since we existed, fighting one another, conquering lands? How? Talk to me.
Where does it even come from?
Where does it come from, and how do we present it if we feel that we have something to offer? Because I think a lot of the people just watching today, by the process of exploration, creative problem solving, and just life experience, they may feel like they have something to offer, and they feel a little bit that who am I to say syndrome.
Yeah, man, and it's really dangerous, actually. It's really dangerous to limit yourself because you don't believe you're of that pedigree. At the same time, because ideas are ideas, man. You need to know why what you think is wrong. That's what you need to know. Like, you need to know why it's wrong. You need to get it before people that have experience, and you need to just challenge it, beat the brakes off it. So, because truth doesn't need to be defended. You know what I'm saying? So get that truth in front of some people and get it challenged. I say me and you are definitely a lot alike in that. Same here, man. A lot of what I do is about the journey of a warrior, man. It's about the journey that never ends. You'll see me at this event training alongside these guys. I'm not teaching anything. I'm not teaching anything. I don't have that level of mastery that I believe. I understand protection tactics. I understand the soft skills of protection, safe life pattern. Those are things that I believe that I definitely can speak on and teach and all that stuff. But in terms of these hard skills, man, I'm the same way. I always love to be the student and soak it up and learn. But in terms of where innovation comes from, I think, and this may not be a very popular answer, but I think it is a very, it's a heavy one to consider. It's a strong consideration. The battlefield, the enemy, we want to stay ahead of the enemy. And right now, with the age of information, and the sophistication that we're seeing out of battlefields like Mexico, for example, with drone attacks taking place and different types of express kidnappings happening and different things like that, there is I believe there's an inevitable evolution that is relative to our new environments and the new context mankind is living in that demands that we evolve our tactics, because now all the kids playing video games know our tactics of yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Now, do they have the emotional intelligence to implement them under stress? Probably not. But I know, but at the same time, there are kids in these third world countries that are implementing tactics. And so we almost are demanded to find a way to evolve and innovate when it comes to these life threatening skills that we have on both sides of the coin, I think.
So if there was an individual who wanted to transition from sort of being a hypothetical philosophical warrior. Perhaps they don't have any security, military, or law enforcement experience. And again, this is a hypothetical question. What character traits and other life experiences do you think prepare someone to excel in the world of executive protection?
In the world of executive protection,
Yes.
that's funny, man, because I have my own company. I do a whole bunch of interviews. I've got, a couple hundred students. So we're having this conversation all the time. And, what's crazy is a lot of the guys at the top of the game don't come from the military or law enforcement pedigree. And I actually believe civilians actually have an advantage at a career in executive protection because they don't have the starch that we have. They have more flexibility, inner psychic flexibility, and they can be just a dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they can come off as just a dude, and it makes clients feel comfortable. It also allows you to blend in with the public a lot more easily. Military, a guy with a background walks into a room and everyone's like, is he a cop? Like, is he a cop, or is he like what is this guy? Like, I'm like,
Right.
like, do I need to, I need to put my freaking seatbelt on. You know what I mean? So that feeling, and some clients love that, but a lot, especially now with the PC stuff going on, being able, what it really comes down to is, can I put you next to a billionaire without him feeling weird? Can you walk around with that billionaire, and can you add value to his brand by the way you look and the way you act? Do you have the soft skills of social intelligence to be in these environments and add equity to his brand and make him look good? Do you have the soft skills to navigate all the spheres of relationships around that individual? We call it the royal court, but the friend he's had since third grade, the mom, the grandma, and all those relationships around him, while still bringing equity and honor and respect to that individual's brand. So the social dynamics, and it's something I teach and I'm big on, which is the only reason I think I've really thrived in the industry, because I'm not the biggest, I'm not the baddest, I'm not the sexiest, I ain't got the coolest background, but I've seen a lot of people come and go, and I've been able to thrive in this industry. And I believe it's largely because of social dynamics. So there's a lot of guys at the top of the game without those backgrounds, and the other civilian advantage, one last thing, is that civilians feel like, because they're surrounded by military and law enforcement folks, they still have to prove themselves. So I find that they're the ones that are like, they're not once upon a time in me. Oh yeah, well, I was a Navy SEAL, so I could do this easy. Oh, I just retired from law enforcement, so I can definitely do executive protection. Executive protection, there's nuances. There's a lot to this industry that you need to have respect for and learn. A civilian comes in like an empty cup, ready to learn, and then they're going to courses. They're doing all kinds of things, investing in themselves because they don't have a pedigree to rest on.
Yeah. Bench players work the hardest, and they inevitably turn into the best coaches.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, it's true. There's a lot more I can say on that one, man. But that's a quick, thin slice on it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let's stay on soft skills and how it relates to how sort of the social construct of the world is shifting. Has the world gone soft? Is masculinity being suppressed? Does male toxicity exist, and what could be the real dangers, right? In that, for some dude who lives in rural Idaho, for the guy who lives in Miami, why should we care about the pervasiveness of like this hyper political correctness and the softening of masculine traits? What's the real danger?
Yeah, man. I mean, if we're going to talk about the real day, and I've seen this, I've dealt with it. You can see it in sitcoms where, the wife is this brilliant, attractive woman, and the husband's this like childish blob that needs to be rescued all the time. In my psychology classes, I shut one class down because we had this whole just explanation about toxic masculinity. And this teacher was going to town, and I just couldn't take it anymore. So I respectfully raised my hand, and I was just like, ma'am, the only thing that I kind of take issue at is the reality that these traits that you're talking about are toxic. And any true man, anyone who has healthy masculinity, would shut this guy down. He wouldn't allow him to do these things in his environment. He would be ostracized and alienated from a pack of actual real men. And so the problem is very self-correcting if you have healthy men in the space as well. I was like, the problem I have with this course is that you're making the line between masculinity and toxic masculinity so diffuse that people think that true masculinity is actually toxic, when it is the antithesis. It is the antibodies. It's the white blood cells that keeps the weak men in check. You want a safer world, you need strong men. That's the backbone of society. But the way I think this is very dangerous for protectors, no matter what your walk of life is, law enforcement, professional protector, first responder, fireman, man, whatever it is that you need to be formidable. And you need to be able to face a threat, my man. You got to be able to face a threat that's been out there. There's out there right now doing dirty deeds for cheap, getting jumped into gangs, getting their licks, getting their cuts, in prison right now, living like animals. Out there on the streets doing things. And it takes a beast to catch a beast, to kill a beast. You know what I'm saying? Like you need to have inside of you something that can stand up against that. You may not need it, but it's better to have it and not need it. You know what I'm saying? And so you can easily find yourself in a training situation where the instructor is more focused on you coming back and being a repeat customer than giving you what you actually need to be able to actually withstand real life violence. The other really big danger is everyone operates on different social codes, homie. So your PC social code might say that you insulted him, he should insult you back. But he might run on another social code that says you insulted him, you've got to die. And so understanding these, and this is a more old school masculine social code where honor is equity, my man. So missing out on those social codes, getting training that's comfortable for you, but isn't actually what could save your life, becoming inoculated to stress, real stress, understanding that if you're punched in the face, you won't die, getting inoculated to actually being able to withstand combat and think under that stress. These are really, really big things you miss out on if you stay in that bubble of PC. My mama said I'm special, participation trophy training. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I love that. You got to be formidable. Be formidable. 100%. That sounds like a t-shirt.
No, it is, man. That's a little Jordan Peterson on there. You know what I'm saying? I hope they don't censor us for saying his name, but we got to put a little Jordan Peterson on it.
Can I tell you something very strange?
Yes, sir.
I was lying down in bed last night. It was around 2 a.m. I couldn't sleep. Yeah. Started scrolling, and I started watching a Jordan Peterson interview by GQ Britain.
Yeah.
And I was in that position for 1 hour and 45 minutes straight. I didn't think. I was using it initially as a way to fall asleep.
Yeah.
But here we are talking about him now the very next day. Things happen. Yes. Things happen for a reason.
100%.
Hey, let's look at something. You want to break down this violent encounter for us?
Let's do it.
This right here. What's up? What's going on? And I can pause. Look at this dude.
Yeah, right, man. So this was one. I saw this morning, and it is such a sophisticated attack. It's hard to even say what he could have done differently, So I have to honestly, so I have to go back to my ABCs of protection, right? Context. Okay. Context. So you'll hear a lot of guys online be like situational awareness. Okay. That's too broad of a stroke. Okay. Situational awareness is good, but really when we dig into it, what are we really looking for? How do I see through the matrix, not just look at the screen, right? So, context. It looks like it's late at night. This guy's in a transitional space. So he's walking from one safe place to another. It's late at night. This is probably when you're going to be encountering more danger. This is when 80% of attacks happen. So you're walking on the street. You want to stay next to the wall generally because everyone's moving outside of you. But in this situation, he's got to be looking ahead of him at what the people in front of him are doing. He's got to have his head up. When he sees this guy with the hat disappear behind the wall and the other guys are still moving towards him, that's his only prayer for his spidey senses. And we're trying to stay left of bang. We're trying to stay ahead of the attack. That is his only prayer. Hopefully, in an ideal situation, he is profiling everyone that he sees on the street at all times. So because he knows the context, it's late at night, because he knows he's in a transitional space, he's got to be much more aware. And that awareness hopefully drives him to see this group of guys, to know that they're all together. And once they break off, he's got to be thinking, he hopefully is starting to think, these guys are positioning on me. So then the next thing that we talk about is tactical positioning. If I've got a group of males up ahead of me and I know the context puts me in like a code yellow or orange awareness, I've got to be paying attention to where these guys are going. And that is the split second when those guys break apart. That's when I'm looking at tactical positioning. Where am I in the world right now in terms of safety? Who is positioning on me right now to gain an edge? And as you come up to the edge of that building, you've got to know that's a danger point. Now, the third thing I talk about is rolling risk assessment. Where's the risk around me? Now I've identified that I'm in a dangerous context, has me dialed up. This is a more dangerous context. So on this walk home, I'm paying attention. Tactical positioning. What's going on with these three guys? They look suspect, right? And now they're breaking off to possibly encompass me. Okay, so now we get into that rolling risk assessment. This building's about to end. I'm about to hit an alleyway. Risk goes up. And when that risk goes up, I need to act. At any point in time, when you start to see the tactical positioning get weird, context is one thing. That's a resting thing that keeps you at a level of awareness, right? You're like, all right, I'm going into a dangerous situation. Let me pay attention. Once that tactical positioning piece falls into play and you see that, hey, there's someone standing in my quarter panel, there's someone standing behind me, or there's someone trying to get into these places, that's when you're dialing up again. You're like, okay, I need to move to their move. The tactical positioning piece is something that moves your body. Once you start seeing them move, I'm crossing the street, I'm getting on the outside of the street, I'm ducking into some place. And then that risk assessment is the final piece of, hey, where's that other guy? I don't know. Maybe I'm going to pause here on the sidewalk and look like I'm sending a text message or something real quick until he appears again. You know, and it seems like a lot to do. A lot of people would say to me, well, hey, Byron, like that's a lot to be paying attention to. I would say to you, it's like this. It's like the first time you got into your car and you were like shifting and looking at mirrors and driving and you were freaking out because you're like, this is so much to do. But I submit the thought to you today that your brain is designed, your subconscious mind is a 1 million times more powerful information processor than your focal conscious mind. So the longer you do these things in your focal conscious mind, they actually become habits in your subconscious mind, and you start doing them at an unconsciously competent level. And you start just being like, I don't feel right. Hold up. Let me just cross the street real quick. That looks a little sketchy. And you don't even think about it. And you start avoiding things. And then the final piece in that altercation is, you know, once they get him around the corner, you have to be able to make that decision. Do I give them what I want, what they want? Are they asking something of me that I absolutely cannot give? Or do I fight? And then it comes into the hard skills. Personal protection is about the person. Self-defense is about the self, and understanding those principles, right? If I'm a 110-pound female and I don't have the testosterone, the bone structure, and the muscle density to be able to even shove and break contact from these guys, get a weapon out, do anything I need to do with any of the weapons I carry on my body, I've got to understand what I need to do. But if I am a 110-pound female, I can also go to my hardware a lot quicker. You know, that's something I might need to do sooner in order to survive. If I'm a 240-pound black dude like me, then I can play a little bit with these different tactical positioning and rolling risk assessment. I can actually talk with someone and interact with someone a little bit more because I have more bandwidth. And then once he's grabbed right here, this is where the hard skills come in. Have you ever gotten out of a choke like that? Could he have slipped that and made a break for it? Would have been smart. Does he have an escape already pre-established that he could use, a route already pre-established that he could use, because he knows he's coming up to a dangerous place? And this is where your habits on all sides, either on your soft skill side and on your hard skill side, you know, I always say in my content, protection's more than just a job, it's a lifestyle. And if you have those soft skills, you're living that lifestyle, you can see something like this coming a higher percentage of the time. If you're living that lifestyle and you're training in those hard skills, then you'll be able to survive something like this. Your baseline of proficiency, your unconscious competence, is what's going to pull you through that situation, both on the soft skills and on the hard skills side of things. So that's what I would say. That's my 2 cents on that one.
Hey, man, I disappeared there for a little bit. Thanks for holding it down.
Yeah, no worries, brother. No, I gotta lay down some cover fire, man. I got you.
Woo! Dude, I was struggling there. I was like connecting things and trying to figure it out, but we're back. Hey,
yeah, love it.
guys, thank you very much for bearing with me. I had some technical difficulties here. But hey, we got another one, right? Can you do
Yes.
another one for us? Can you do another
Yeah,
one
man.
for
This is what
us?
I do. I love this. I love this stuff, man.
All right.
Now that we got the hard one out of the way, I saw that one this morning. I was like, man, those guys were good. Those guys were good. All right. So hands, man. I'm thinking hands, 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 hands. What are you doing right now? If I'm the guy on the other side of the money, in a place like this, and it's late at night, and I got hoodie dude in front of me. Okay, I saw hoodie dude come in, and I was like, all right, hoodie dude, like we may have to play ball. I'm gonna play cool, but I'm already in like a yellow right now with hoodie dude, right? So hands, hands, hands. Now when I'm looking down at that cash register right now, I know he knows my bandwidth is taxed. This is the moment where I'm expecting him, if he's going to do something, to try to do it. So I'm going to take my time with this cash register situation. And you see these all the time, man. You see these, I post videos all the time of someone paying for someone and paying for something. And someone comes up behind them, because that's the moment when they know your bandwidth, your psychological bandwidth is going to be most taxed. And that's when they attack you. So if I'm the guy behind the cash register, I'm taking my time with this, and I'm paying attention to his hands. I also, if I was really uncomfortable with him, I would have done something. Hey man, how you doing tonight? What's going down, brother? Yeah. And I would have kind of interviewed him in a way to get him to be like,
Man,
this
that's
dude
not
doesn't.
easy though.
It's
I mean,
not easy.
it's not easy. And
It's not easy.
Damn it. I hear it
Yeah,
all the
man.
time. Stay calm, take control of the situation, distract him, play around with his ability to process information, corrupt his
Yeah.
OODA loop, do all these things.
Yeah.
But I'm scared out of my balls, man. Like I'm so do you like stuff? As
Yeah.
I'm processing what am I going to do next? I'm thinking about my kids,
Mhm.
right? This isn't just something that you just tell somebody,
And they
hey,
just do.
stay calm. Somebody who's never had a gun pulled on them. It's
Yeah.
not something that we can just do. I never had a gun pulled on me, Byron.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Do you have a process, an inoculation process, an exposure process, so that we can actually begin to alchemize the knowledge into
Love that word.
skill without putting ourselves in these dangerous pressure tests, right?
Yeah.
Pressure tests like in the real world. How real quick, diverge a little bit. We're about to
Segue.
watch the rest of this video.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's just got to be a process to this.
Yeah,
Staying
man.
calm under pressure.
I was talking to someone. Oh, what was I going to do? I was doing something. I was at AS3 driving course, and they were talking about pressure. And there's two different types of people that thrive under pressure, people that don't thrive under pressure. And it's actually something that I want to create an event around at some point, but stress inoculation. And it is a muscle, and it is something that is so good to be able to acquire and strengthen, even in the social settings, all the way down to being triggered when you get hijacked. And now you're trying to have a conversation, but you're having it back here because your TY axis is flooded, your brain's flooded. And now emotion is all you have to try to get through the conversation, but you're not learning. And we're all freaking trying not to kill ourselves listening to how stupid your argument is, right? So, but it really comes down to emotional intelligence. And the best thing I've been able to, that I've heard from the people I've talked to and my own life, is continually putting yourself under that stress, continually getting on the mats, continually getting yourself in situations where there's a demand that you perform under pressure, to the point where, that fear, when you do feel fear, when that guy walks in and you're like, yo, this is sketchy etchy, you feel that fear, you get into a proactive state almost organically. You know what I'm saying? Because the fear is the fear, I believe. It's like, I'm used to dealing with fear. I'll get through this. I'll deal with it. And I think that's our best bet in a training scenario.
I experienced something. I'm going to share this. Something really embarrassing, actually, for somebody who, digests so much good information from people.
Yeah.
I got in a road rage incident the other day,
Yeah.
or a couple of weeks ago. Right? It got bad.
Really?
It got bad. So I was driving. Dude was here after everything was happening. He cut me off, and then another SUV pulls up from behind and starts talking to me. I'm like, "Who are you?" He's like, "That's my homeboy." And
Oh, great.
it got to the point where I'm like, and I was close to home, right?
Uh-huh.
I was close to home, and I knew I shouldn't have driven home and escalated it in the way that I embarrassingly did. But I invited him
Yeah.
over. I'm like, "This is where I live. Let's go. Meet me here. Let's
Oh,
fight."
no.
Terrible,
Right.
man.
Yeah,
Terrible.
man.
I'm so embarrassed that I invited these assholes into my driveway
Yeah.
to invite them to a fight. Like, I'm like, no
Yeah.
more talking. You know what I mean? Let's
Hmm.
fight.
Yeah,
Uh,
man.
but I brought them into my turf, and I'm trying to consolidate what I did,
Hmm.
I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. Anyway, I was lucky. They,
Yeah.
I called their bluff, and
Uh-huh.
you know, they didn't want to throw down. But
Hmm.
that could have been bad. And it was
All
anger,
kinds of
man.
bad.
It was this
Yeah.
seething. It catches you by surprise. It's a
Yeah.
different kind of a thing. It's
Hmm.
not fear. It's
Mm-mm.
I want to fuck this dude up.
Yeah.
And how, oh man, I'm so embarrassed. But I
It's
wanted to share that. I'm only
yeah.
human, man. These ego
Yeah.
fights, man. Jails are full of people who went a little too far in a perceived self-defense condition when none existed. They punched a dude, he hits a fire hydrant, he's dead now. You're in jail now.
Yep.
You know, just managing this anger is
It's huge. I completely agree with that. And I've learned, I mean, to be completely honest with you, man, in some ways I think executive protections really helps me because I deal with people who they can have whatever they want. They're like, yo, get me a monkey. What plays drums? Carry it around in your backpack all day. You know, and you're like,
wow.
okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and so you learn this emotional intelligence. And I came from a really strict family of like emotional intelligence. You got a problem, you can go to your room and deal with it, or you can get tightened up out here, and then you can come back and you can be fine. I found myself in a road rage incident the other day, and dude, and I've actually had it go both ways, but this time, the guy rolled up on me. He's cussing me out. He's yelling at me.
Yeah.
And I roll up next to him and I just look over and I'm like, hey, bro, I'm sorry, man. I was like,
Wow. See?
I shouldn't have cut you off. And in my head, I'm like, fuck, Bruce Lee, wax on,
Oh,
wax off. Like I just crushed this dude's whole drive. I'm like in his freaking, I'm in his head right now, dude. And he's just like, and I'm like, my bad, homie. I shouldn't have cut you off. Have a nice day. And I keep driving, and he's just like, and he's like, you're right, man. Okay. And I'm just like, I am a Jedi, homie.
wow. We need
Um,
to reward those stories,
yeah,
right?
man.
We reward the stories where
You
you
take them
invite
to
them
your
into your
house and you
house and you
light
beat
them
the
up in
crap
the,
out.
yeah.
Right? There is no, and this is something that I proposed in my exploration of the martial arts community,
Yeah,
is
man.
that we put such a high value on the ass kicking story. We
Right.
don't put value on the de-escalation stories. There's no award,
100%.
there's no de-escalation award.
And you
You
know
know,
what? Yeah, man. And it's honestly become an identity because over the years, what my art is really a lot of what I've really specialized in is shutting down violence. And the last time I had to put my hands on a dude, I threw him across the room, but it was because I was stopping violence. I had to get him away from everything that was about to happen to him and get my guys and get everyone to a safe place. And that was the best place for him. But I actually, just on this real quick, I've developed, now that we're having this conversation, a bit of, because ego's not all bad. Your personal pride
no.
is very important. You need this. But I've tethered a lot of that personal pride into my ability to stop violence. I'll use the tool of humility. I'll use the tool of connection.
Humility as a tool.
De-escalation. Right. And I'll use these things as tools because if I need to think, hey, look, I'm smarter than you. This is too expensive. I'm not going to let this happen. So I'm going to understand your drives and I'm going to take that energy out of this whole entire altercation. I can be humble, but I get to keep going home. Get to keep making money. I get to keep my CCW. I get to keep being who I am in the world, and I think that's been really valuable in terms of avoiding altercations where I can prove how big and bad I am. I'll prove how big and bad I am by no one ever hearing about anything happening because it was so smooth.
Man, I'm taking away so much from this. And again, maybe I've heard it before.
Yeah,
But
we all have.
but it's like when it's staring you in the face, I want to acknowledge how difficult it could be.
Yeah, man.
And I'm not a professional.
Mm.
I think I represent most people who watch the Funker Tactical channel or who like the tactical community, right?
Yeah.
We're really tourists in this world. We'd like to stick around a little bit longer, but it's we still get caught by the tourist traps,
Yeah,
so to
that can
speak, if
happen.
I can be, analogistic. Anyway,
I dig it. But real quick, man, I
yeah,
don't see anyone as tourists, man. I think at any point in time, dude, you could be staring down the barrel of something stupid because of a road rage incident. You know what I mean? Like
you're right.
at any point in time, dude, you could be in this store with this guy right here, and this could be about to go down. So I think these protection skills are something that anyone should have, man.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And again, it was
Everyone.
an embarrassing story for me to share, but I just think a lot of people can relate to it.
Yeah.
And maybe, the things that embarrass me is they're calls to action, right? It's
Yep.
not just I'm gonna go wallow in my embarrassment.
Yeah.
I'm gonna seek better ways to deal with it should it come across again. But it just took me
Yeah.
by surprise, and I invited people to my home to fight. And from a road rage incident. Dumb. It's dumb.
I honor you for sharing that, dude. That's awesome.
Man.
I love that about you.
But I like humility as a tool.
Yes.
Humility as a tool.
So powerful.
Amazing, bro. All right.
So we're in this store. This guy walks in. He's a little bit shady. If you feel uncomfortable, that's a target indicator, man. Interview the guy a little bit. Hey, man, how you doing tonight? What's going on with you? What you looking for? Are you okay? So before we even go to guns, I'm already like, if I feel uncomfortable, if I feel fear, I might start checking on the guy. Like, hey, man, are you okay? How you doing? I'm coming across as compassionate, but I'm also coming across as I'm really paying attention to you. Like, I'm really paying attention to you. And that hopefully can knock them off center line a little bit. If my senses are going if my spidey senses are tingling, I'm going to play with this a little bit before I go straight into whatever it is he wants me to do. And I'm going to think about where my tools are, what I have access to. This is a perfect world. Remember, this is Monday morning quarterbacking, right? So these are the considerations going into this. Now, as he approaches the cash register, he's got a good angle on me. That's not too unorganic, so it's not going to stand out to me too much. But he had his hands in his pockets here for a while. That would make me really uncomfortable. I'm thinking about where my stuff is, and he waited until till he was getting the cash out of the register. Dude's bandwidth is depleted, right? So that's the moment we're looking for him to strike. And if we look at the ABCs of protection, context, it looks like it's late at night. He's in a situation where he could be victimized, right? Tactical positioning. He takes an angle on that cash register that's a little uncomfortable for me. And then rolling risk assessment. I'm looking at those hands. I'm looking at the way his body language is. A lot of good stuff from Yusuf Badu. Behavioral profiling. You're looking for clusters of behavior, nervous behavior that can help you understand what's about to happen. And then ultimately, what I love about what this guy did was he fainted on him, man. He surrendered. Don't draw on a drawn gun, man. This ain't the movies. You're not, he didn't draw in this moment when that gun's on him. He gave him what he wanted. And then he got off center line and he took that moment to draw his weapon when he noticed the other guy's bandwidth was taxed by the task that guy had at hand, which he's looking down at the cash register, not paying attention. That's his opening. And that's when he goes in and he draws his weapon and he defends himself. Now, the other really heavy consideration, and that's kind of surrender as a tactic, is this right here. He's got his back turned towards you and you have a weapon on him. Shooting him in the back while he's fleeing, that's when you can find yourself in some serious litigation. I'm not a lawyer, consult your own lawyers, But in my opinion, the second that guy turns his back and begins fleeing, that's when you got to make sure you don't send another round or two on the way out the door, because that's when self-defense can turn into murder. So those are some considerations for that.
So crazy that, I mean, wow. Just putting myself in that situation.
Yeah.
How do you even register? Oh, he's running. I should probably not shoot him.
Yeah. Like your
so
brain
much
is like
built into us to go get that.
That's
guy.
The bad guy. That mother. Yeah. I mean, he went. Yeah. He should die. I mean, by old code, they take him out and kill him. I mean, by the old code, they chop a hand off. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some countries that still chop his hand off if they catch him. But nowadays, man, we got to play the game if we want to survive and be with our families.
Hey man, we're approaching an hour. Thank you very
Yes,
much for your
sir.
time. I got a bunch more questions for you. If you got just a little bit longer.
Yeah, I've got time, man. I got
Yeah.
time for you for sure.
All right. Real, maybe not real quick. What's the most common mistake adults make when it comes to the initial stages of developing their personal security training plan? Like when somebody decides, right? I know some people are watching here and maybe they want to transition from Orange Fingers and Cheetos and Call of Duty into like, yo,
I
I
can get
live with
down.
my mom. She's getting old. Maybe there's something I need to do, right? So maybe I've got kids now,
Yeah.
right? So what's the most common mistake in your estimation that these adults make when they begin that journey into going, I'm going to take this a little bit more seriously?
They buy a gun. They buy a gun, man. They start asking me these questions. And guns are the ultimate equalizer. They are the ultimate equalizer, I believe. But they just buy a gun and they ask me, "Hey Byron, what's the best gun what I should buy?" And I'm like, yo, I mean, most of them go bang these days, my man. That's something you got to figure out. You need to date that gun. You need to court different guns and handguns and take some advice. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
um, do not, do not buy this gun and settle for the false sense of safety that comes from having the hardware. I post all kinds of videos where someone pulls a gun and doesn't know what they're doing and gets shot with their own gun or shot with the other guy's gun. Or if you have a weapon on you, understand that you just brought a weapon to the altercation. That's all you did. If you have a weapon on you, every physical altercation you're in is a life-threatening altercation now. Every single one of them. Because if you get incapacitated, overpowered, or anything like that, and you have a gun in the mix, well, it's a much more serious thing. So if you're going to start getting into this thing, we have a saying, amateurs focus on hardware, professionals focus on software. Get some training behind that weapon system. That's the
Man,
most important thing.
I really, really love that. When do you know? Okay, when do you know when you're ready to carry?
That's a great question, man. That gun obviously should feel like an extension of you. You you need to train until you're comfortable. I think that's something that someone really needs to feel for themselves. One of the ways that I've gotten really comfortable with my weapons and my weapons manipulation and just been intimate with mine is I just compete. I do a lot of competition shooting, so I go to competitions a few times per month. So I'm staying warm. That relationship is always happening. And then I'll go to do some tactical training here and there. And I'm testing myself out in different formats all the time. So I'm building up the software for all these different formats. I don't want you to go to a course. I want you to like hire a physical trainer. Like, you hire someone that's like, I'm going to learn how to get in shape. And this person's with you for a few months,
Yeah.
I want you to purchase a package, find a local trainer that can put you through a pipeline of training and submit to someone who knows what they're doing to where they can tell you, hey man, you're ready. You're at a certain level. And then
Right.
take that information and marry it with your personal level of confidence, competence, and confidence. And then be like, okay, let's do it, man. I feel comfortable now, because the feeling's a whole bunch of it. That confidence is a whole bunch of it.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say, man. Submit to training and then gauge inside yourself what you're feeling.
Submit to training. I like it.
Yeah.
Hey, a good friend of mine who's very much into integrated combatives,
Yeah.
Todd Fossey, recently released a video that got the whole shooting sports community all wound up. And you mentioned shooting sports.
I know I did it. I welcomed it.
Right?
Yeah, man.
He didn't in his messaging that there can be severe, grave training scars that can be developed from competitive shooting. He didn't note all the positive things that it could possibly, give to the practitioner. The video was hyper focused on the potential for severe training scars.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you believe that competitive shooting, if that's all you do, if that is central to your firearms universe, can it develop bad habits? And how do you prevent those things from happening so that you can acquire all the positive things from it without carrying the baggage of potential negative training scars?
Yeah, man. No, that's a huge question. And me and my buddy, me and one of my closest friend, Luke, who's a high level, Luke Agajanian, high level competitive shooter, man. And he's civilian background, and I'm Marine Corps background, right? So we used to almost go to blows over this. Like he's like, I'm like, you will retard to your lowest level of training. That will get you killed. I came from Iraq. I'm a Marine,
Yeah.
And he would be like, dude, he's like. He would just be like, you got to understand when you're playing different games, and your intelligence with your firearm is your intelligence with your firearm. If you can't differentiate whether you're on the battlefield or if you're in a shooting match, then you just need to not be playing the game because you're stupid. And I'm like, that's dumb. When you get stressed out, you're gonna fall back on your training. So the way it's like nature versus nurture.
Yeah, there's truth to both sides of that argument,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's why it's probably gets heated, right?
Oh yeah, it's like nature versus nurture in psychology. It's like, well, what really defines it? I say choice over everything, right? So to a certain point it is nature, and to a certain point it is nurture, but then once you become a certain age, it's what you choose to input into yourself that really ultimately determines the outcome, because you're the common denominator in your life in every situation, right? But with this whole conversation, man, like I see it as I want to learn how to handle more sophisticated equations with my firearm when I'm dealing with it. And so I'm constantly with the competitive shooting. I'm not focusing on sight picture, sight alignment, any of that stuff now. We've left that. Those fundamentals are pretty well cemented, and that is a subconscious operation. With competitive shooting, I'm learning how to navigate an environment as quickly and accurately as possible. I'm paying attention to footwork. I'm paying attention to all these higher level skills to help me be able to solve higher level problems while I have my gun. So I'm shooting and fighting, and I'm thinking about all this other stuff out here, taking in all these different things. And I think that's really the best thing you take from competitive shooting. Then on top of that, I'll go to a tactical firearms course. I'll train under, a Mike Pannone and all these different guys. And I will test myself in those venues, and we'll look for training scars, and I'll look at new tactics, and I'll implement those tactics. And dare I say it, I find that the guys that do both of these things are the guys that are usually at the top of the class in those classes. Because
both of those things.
Yeah, both of those things. Don't get married to one of the. You can be as promiscuous as you want when it comes to this, as long as you're learning from legit people. Doing both, I think, is the superior mindset, that hybrid mindset.
Yeah, and I think for the most part, people got that out of the video. But I just think like this tactical community, man, it is not only resistant to criticism, it is aggressive towards anything that doesn't fall in line with their immediate worldview. And sometimes that could be very narrow. And those are the guys that often get just, what do you mean shooting sports can develop bad habits?
Right.
I don't have bad habits. Would you call me a liar? They take it very personally.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I can appreciate how some of these things can be tied into who you are as a personality, as a character.
Yeah.
But we are much more nuanced than that. You know what I mean? Right.
And those are the guys that it's just kind of like sometimes hard to stomach. It's like, look, man, like, well, I'd say two things to that. I'd say one, anytime I start sniffing out and finding dogma in my stuff, it might like this whole community can get mad tribal, man. It can get mad tribally. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh,
really? Are you sure?
Yeah, right. You train under such and such. Like, we don't.
Yeah.
I'm not about any of that, man. I'm about uniting the tribes and finding higher truth. You know what I'm saying? And so anytime you start getting really crystallized and canonized in a one-way thing, you're missing something, homie. Like that's just a fact. It permeates every area of life. The other thing is, all the training we're doing and all the stuff we're doing, it is just one skill or compartment or aspect to you. The guys that become hard for me to stomach is when this thing, and I get it, it's a slippery slope when everyone's telling you you're great at one thing all the time. But the reality is that time will come and go. We all got to get old and die. We all take a turn, so don't let yourself find an identity in these things that has more weight than it should.
Amen.
A samurai is more than just a sword, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So Know who you are in multiple venues and be good at this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
That's good, man. The psychology of ownership and accountability means that we just put too much value in the things that we have and the experiences that we have, where that value may not transfer to other people. So if you paid $500 to take a class from instructor A,
Yeah.
and then you hear about instructor B saying something contrary to what you learned from instructor A, you're going to attack instructor B,
Right.
because instructor A is who we believe in. Right. And we will defend that because we paid $1,500 for that. And we want to validate our experiences, sometimes by way of invalidating others. And in the process of doing that, you just close opportunities and doors to learning.
To grow, man.
To grow.
Yeah.
Come on, tactical community.
Yeah. It's huge.
Let's go.
And just Bruce Lee it, man. Absorb what's useful, disregard what's useless, add what is essentially your own. Because the reality is, instructor A and instructor B are awesome. They are awesome. You're trying to be awesome. You're not either of them. So you better, self-defense is about the self. Personal protection is about the person. So you need to figure out what your jam is, what's most effective for your physiology, your psychology, the space you're going to be in, Right. And that's where the game is won. And in my opinion.
The thing is, look, you've been to war, right? If I train under you, there's a part of me that wants to believe that you can transfer what you learned in theater to me, but I don't think you can really. I mean, I can't get that experience by osmosis, right? Yeah. It's like, hey, who's your instructor? How many guys has he shot? Who's your knife? Who's your knife guy? Has he ever been stabbed?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
he ain't been stabbed. He ain't even.
He doesn't know, right?
He ain't even legit. Yeah.
Yeah. Show me your scars, bro. How can you teach me knife? You haven't even been in a hospital for stab wounds, right? So, what advice might you have for a student who buys in almost preemptively into a dogmatic approach, even if the instructor does not believe in that dogmatic approach and doesn't want it for himself? Right? This hero worship of our instructors. Throw some knowledge
man.
downrange, man.
100%. And for me, the way I deal with that and the way I've always approached the game, and I've just had to fight dudes like my own homies and be like, nah, man, I'm going to this dude's course and I'm going to see what I can learn, and they're like, but we don't like that guy. Or they're like, dude, you do this better than him. And I'm like, yeah, well, I can learn something from anyone. And I guarantee you, if I keep my eyes and ears open, I'm going to learn something from this dude. And I'm going to learn something from this dude. All right. So the way you shuffle the deck on that is you mix it up, man. You go and you sit under different instructors. And the more you do this, the more you'll be able to really, really understand what fits you, what is actually legit, like what is actually useful. And you expose yourself to as much as you can expose yourself to, man. And you pick something from each guy, absorb what's useful, disregard what's useless, add what's essentially your own. And you keep on jamming. And ultimately you'll learn these different arts, but what you're creating is your own art of survival and protection. It's got to fit you. And what works for me ain't going to work for her. It ain't going to work for him. It isn't going to work. So you have to take tools that are relevant to you. And that's going to come from all the colors of the rainbow in the tactical community. In my opinion, I'm never too good to sit under somebody and see what they can contribute. I can have a conversation with a bum at the bus stop and learn something from him. I think remaining humble and being on that path, you become a better student because you can identify good things for you and you get exposed to more. So you evolve quicker,
Love it, man. All right. Just a couple more questions here. And this is one. Hey, what's the best gun for home defense? What's the best gun?
Yeah.
We hear this.
Yeah.
Question.
No, this is
how do you answer that?
Yeah. So the one you can use best is a really big factor. The one that you're the most effective with is one approach. The other approach is, you got to consider your environment. I've really been digging, like shotguns are great. Don't put slugs in that thing, but necessarily because you're gonna punch through everything. But I really have been, and that's a kind of an established thing. A lot of guys are running shotguns and stuff like that. I am most effective with handguns. I love my handgun, but I think the new anomaly, man, right now, the new hotness, the new cat's pajamas is the PCC, brother, man. Pistol
PCC.
caliber carbine. So we're talking about a rifle that shoots a pistol round. And so you're able to manage, because, pistols are just finicky. You got to really close front and rear sight that you're trying to manage all the time, right?
Yeah.
So if you put that into a rifle size weapon, right? Where we at here? You put that in a rifle size weapon, right? It's easier for you to manage. You have much more round capacity. You're shooting a 9mm or a 45 caliber round that's not going to go through everything ever. You put some hollow points in there. You're getting more muzzle velocity. So your ballistic profile is greatly elevated on a platform that you can manage more easily, and you get more rounds. This has been like, me and my buddies have been just having these and just giving them to the wives, man. It's like, okay, cool. They come out the room, stand up here on the second level, and just shoot everyone because you have infinite bullets and you can manage this weapon. You know what I mean? Like, but I'd say look into PCCs, man. Pistol caliber carbines is, in my opinion, the hotness right now for that.
Right on. So for the next question, I'm just gonna pretend that I'm gonna know what you're talking about by nodding my head, because I'm not this dude. But let's say you had $10,000 to spend today.
Yes. Okay.
And you could only buy tactical items. You have to spend it all today.
Whoa.
You can only buy tactical things. Let's include training opportunities to be in there, but
wow.
I think that people want to hear some cool things. Here's $10,000, Byron. You got to spend it today. Go buy some cool shit. How are you going to spend that money?
Man, that's a good one. $10,000.
$10,000, man.
I'm gonna buy. Well, geez, man, I might just buy all of it. I've really been wanting to set up a Tavor IWI, like kind of like the Bullpup AR. I've really been wanting to set up one of those because I just love the profile, man. It's small. I get it.
They look cool once you add all the cool stuff on it too,
and they look cool. So I have a PWS Mark 114 is my primary battle rifle. Shout out to PWS, they're awesome. But I've really been wanting to set up a Tavor, so I probably would set up a Tavor. And whilst it's ultra spaceshipy, I have some night vision, but I have a mono. I have a single tube. I might get a second double tube with that, and put a laser on that. So I probably put like a night vision.
What's something like that cost?
Oh boy, those things get up into like $3,000 to $6,000.
Oh man, you're dropping
tubes. It would be between a night vision setup with a laser for my gun.
Yeah.
That whole setup is probably about $10,000 between the Tavor, the laser on the front, the PEC 19, and then the two tubes. I'm maxed out. Or I might buy like some overlanding gear for my vehicle, and I'm waiting on that new Tesla truck. So I might just get like the solar panels and cell phone boosters and a whole bunch of overlanding gear for that truck, because I think it's really tactical to be able to go wherever you want to go. Something happens and I need to get off the freeway. I'm going to go ahead and drive off the freeway and get home because it's gridlocked. You know what I mean? I think that's pretty gangster. Yeah.
There you go. And plus you get free tickets to the Protector Symposium. So why, you don't need to spend $10,000 on training. You got it.
I was tempted to say that though.
I know, right? That's the message we wanted to get across. But you're like, I'm gonna buy a Tavor, night vision lasers, and stuff for my Tesla truck, which is as valid an answer as any. But really, the answer is training. We'd invest most of it in training.
100%.
Yeah, but cool stuff is cool.
Yeah, man, 100%. That's the game.
Oh, that's awesome. Byron, man, this has been awesome. Let's do one more of these breakdowns, then I'm gonna let you go.
Sure.
This has been really cool.
Let's do it.
Really cool. What's happening here?
All right, so you park in a gas station. Like, if you pause it real quick, what do we see, man? And we get back to those ABCs of protection. We are in one of the most infamous transitional spaces, man. The gas station.
The gas
station. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like a Tesla commercial without being a Tesla commercial. Gas stations where stuff goes down at, homie. It just is. So you roll into a gas station, you need to be paying attention. Dude sets his bag down a few seconds ago, and I'm like, yo, bro, why you set your bag down?
Well, he did set his bag
down, playboy. And next to a gas pump So if you're going to blow something up, like, I mean, you're setting me up. Like, my mind's already going now. Granted, I work in private security and we get 850 million calls about there's a bag out here and it looks like a bomb and like, and it never is, thank God. But I'm extra sensitive to dudes setting bags down. Why are you setting your bag down? I'm a chick. I just parked in a transitional space. So context, I know where I'm at. This context is important, right? Now we start to look at, all right, inside the car, you can take a few minutes and watch this dude. You can prepare something. You can get someone on the phone. This is where you make your preparation, because you leave that car, you're leaving a safe place. She just left a safe place. Now we're looking at transitionals. We're looking at tactical positioning. He knows my path of travel is to that front jibby, to the door. So boom, I'm walking to the door. He's walking to the door. What you doing with your hands, playboy? So he takes his hands out. Now, are you going to ask me for money? What's going on? He's definitely coming towards me. This right here, this little window right here is where she needs to make a decision. She either needs to try, it's too late to get back into her car. Maybe she walks directly over here and talks to this guy at this SUV. But if we're playing by the ABCs of soft skills, of situational awareness that I talk about, right now she's like in a code orange or yellow. He's going to make contact with her, and it's imminent at this point. If she has a tool, go ahead.
She's a white woman. He's a black man. If she did the whole turnaround thing, right? Is she being racist?
Yo, we were just, I was talking about this the other day, man. I get yelled at on my page because people are like, how come you don't stop posting things where black people are doing bad things, man? I'm like, bro, I'm black too, man. I wish that we would stop doing bad things too, but I don't see color, you know what I mean? So like, the reality of the situation is, when you are behavioral profiling, notice I never said you see a black man. I said, dude set his bag down for some reason. What's up with the setting down of your bag, playboy? Dude is interrupting my obvious path of travel. Why is he interrupting my obvious path of travel? I'm a female with less physical potency. I need to be making decisions proactively, right? Yeah. So now if I said dude looks like a gangster, which in my opinion, dude does look like a gangster. If you don't want to be treated like a gangster, don't dress like a gangster. I don't know. That's up to you. You know what I'm saying? But if you're a female in a transitional space and someone looks like a gangster, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, take it into account, and has nothing to do with race. Because if an enemy looks a certain way, guess what? You need to pay attention to the way that enemy looked. When we were in Iraq and I saw Iraqis with sneakers on instead of sandals, and they're wearing Adidas jumpsuits, then guess what? You're probably Alibaba, homeboy. Like, you're an insurgent. So we got to look at, and in the context of that environment, do good people or bad people look like this? This is what we're talking about. So if you're a white woman, don't be afraid. If you feel uncomfortable, make a move, make a decision, a proactive decision, so you don't get victimized. It has nothing to do with race. And if you offend him, then that's his business. Good to go. You keep yourself safe, come home to your family. You know what I mean?
No, I get it, man. And they need to, if nothing happens, right? Let's say nothing happens here.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say nothing happens here. And right around this point, she just goes, rah, runs back into her car.
Yeah.
And this guy's like, okay, I was just about to get a slushie. She needs to unpack those things when she gets home. Why did I act in this way? And but I have to ask a question.
100%. And I think that's what's so dangerous about our current social environment.
Right.
When she unpacks those things, she's got a lot of programming in here, messaging in here. Like, you freaked out because you saw a black man that didn't look clean, and so you freaked out. No, man, there are some real legitimate target indicators happening right now in her environment. And she's going to weight all of this on, I judged a black guy. Like, no. There's a legitimate reason for you to be concerned. If this guy wasn't black and he was purple, he's still bigger and stronger than you, and he's about to interrupt your path of travel. Okay? That's something to consider. When I walk into a room and people look at me, I don't take it personal because I'm black. I'm 240-pound black. I'm strong enough to hurt most of them, if not all of them. That's just a fact. Yeah. And instead of having a chip on my shoulder, I take that into consideration, and I work my social dynamics so that I disarm people. I smile. I'm nice. I address people. I say good morning. I say good evening, and I'm disarming people. Also, if I have to tune someone up, I've already won over most of the people in that environment. They're like, no, he's a good dude. They don't even know why they think I'm a good dude. But they think I'm a good dude because I've been being nice, getting doors for people, being a gentleman since I've been in that environment, and they're already on my side.
Do you feel like you have to do that? Because people have a fear of the big black guy?
Yeah, man. I mean, they do. They have a fear of the big black guy. I have to do it very often. The other side of this coin, though, is if you look statistically, man, black folks, we've been putting up some numbers when it comes to, crime and violent stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, like, we need to lower those numbers so people don't have legitimate reason to be worried about us. You know what I'm saying? And so that's a conversation a lot of people are afraid to have. I'm black and I got tattoos. I got, like 60 hours of tattoos on me. So, I can say these things, you're brown, so you may as well be black.
I got the passport. I got the passport to make all sorts of commentary.
Right. So that's the other half of it. But yeah, man, I work very hard at disarming people that are not familiar with me. Now there's an even more interesting dance that happens, is white people feel the need to tell me they're cool with black people because of all the social programming and messaging going on. And then I almost have to tell them, like, we were totally cool, bro. Like, I'm
relax.
cool too. Like, but I love that people are trying to do the dance at least. Like, hey, I'm cool, you're cool. Because there's something good about it, but it's awkward and uncomfortable.
Well, it's the nuance. It's the discussion of the nuances that are very difficult and require some brain power to actually have these discussions with people. Otherwise, you fall into the, all right, I'm a straight white male. I shouldn't say shit. Right. Or I'm right.
It's reverse racism. It's actually just racism, but I'm gonna call it reverse racism so everyone can follow it.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But it's much easier to fall into these chunks of categories, right? Pro or anti. And it's like, hey, there's a nuance here to be discussed. I'm glad I brought this up. Can we watch the rest of this video?
Okay, yeah. Sorry for my long answers, man.
No. I love it, man. I love it. This is what it's all about.
Yeah. All right. Okay, good. So we're moving. That's the moment right there before he's in arm's reach where she needs to either take a hard right and start walking towards other cars. Hopefully someone over there can help her, or she needs to get ready to defend herself.
What should she actually specifically do? Turn and face him, make eye contact, or at this point, it's time to run. It's time to get out of there.
It's time. At this point, it's time to beat feet. It would have been really good for her to be making eye contact with him before she even got out of her car, or as she began to walk. Yeah, like we're code red right now.
No such thing. That whole walk.
This is a software issue. People try to pretend like they don't see what they're afraid of because they're not used to facing their fears. And this comes from training and learning to actually have a self-concept of confidence and getting inoculated to facing things you fear. She should have been making eye contact with that guy the whole entire time. Like, hey, I see you. What are you doing? What are you doing? It would have been 100 times better for him to approach her while she's in her car with her car not in park, than for her to catch her out in the open right now. So they do make contact, and it looks like he grabs her.
Wow. And
now we're in the struggle. So once this happens, you have disparity of force. You have however many pounds she has on her, and she has to make a decision. This is where training comes in handy. All of it is where training comes in handy. You should be training your soft skills that help you see this world and see through the matrix. You should also be training your hard skills that help you survive something like this. She actually has a lot of fight in her, which is pretty impressive. She's dropping her weight, but do you understand how to get out of a lock like that? Do you have access to weapons that can help you defend yourself? Because all he has to do is drop you on your head. You're going to not go home to your kids. You'll be paralyzed. You can die and different things like that. And
she's fighting.
And she is fighting. But if she had something in her hand, if she had her hand on a weapon, if she had a tool that could even that battlefield out, even out that score, that's where she wants to be. If she didn't have the discretion to avoid the situation, once she's in the situation, and this is why I believe training is even more important for women, because they need the superpowers. They need the tools to even the playing field. They need to understand how to attack someone who's stronger. It's more important to them. That's why I post videos like this, because I want to microdose civilians with trauma so that they start being like, because I have 5 sisters and women in my life that I tell, hey, don't sit in your car after you come out of work. And what do they say? Oh, it'll never happen. Or just, you're the security guy. That's why you think that way. No. It isn't going to happen until it happens, right? But I love you. I hope that every dad around the world sends these videos to their kids, sends these types of videos in this podcast to people they care about so they can see this stuff happen today in 800 places around the world.
Yeah.
And now she doesn't know what to do. She's begging for her life, and she's at the mercy of this guy. Thank God he just wanted her keys, and now he's running away. She re-engages him, which is a huge mistake.
Huge mistake.
Because that situation now it can escalate and get worse. She's basically asking for violence again without the tools to be able to handle violence. Another huge thing to point out here is she is a woman being thrown around by a black dude in public. You've got to understand, and this is why I have E Pluribus Unum tattooed on me, out of many one. You're probably going to have to defend yourself. Good to go. The state, and we talk about kind of the state of PC culture and why it's so corrosive and not good for the public. Our values have shifted. There are no heroes, there are no gentlemen, there's no one coming to help you more than likely. And that's what we see in this situation here. You need to understand how to protect yourself if you don't want to be in that situation. So having the soft skills to avoid it and the hard skills to fight through it, that's what we're talking about. That's why the Protector Symposium focuses on soft skills and hard skills.
Yes.
And that's what this whole game's all about.
Man, there's a lot here. I mean, a lot of questions pop in my head. What should this guy have done? Oh, hold on. Let me reframe this. If this guy in this car was a good friend of yours, be real, what's your expectation of him? To stay safe in his vehicle or to intervene? At this point, right? He's got what he wants. He's on his way out. The bad thing happened. What's this guy to do? What do you recommend, and what do you expect from your best friends?
I mean, that's one of those. It's another one of those questions, man. You got to like temper the ego on it. You know what I'm saying? Now, if this bad thing had already happened, and my best friend was tying his shoes and had missed the whole thing, like when you get in fights on the playground, your buddy's like, I was just tying my shoes, I missed it. Yeah, then now that the bad thing has happened, I'd say Escalade dude needs to grab her, pull her to safety, and make sure she's okay. That's the primary concern. That's the high level consideration, the most prudent response. Now, granted, if it's me and the homeboys, there's a propensity to want to go and tighten dude up. You know what I'm saying? Shove him inside his backpack. Shove him inside that backpack. He sit on the curb. You know what I mean? And hopefully, we can. The reason I want to educate the greater public about these things is because I want to create a society where people are more dangerous, where they're willing, capable, and prepared. So they don't sit in their cars like that, scared to come out and do something about something like this.
Right.
Because good people are the antibodies in any society to evil. And that's what getting people the tools to be able to do that responsibly and effectively. I want bad guys to be afraid of good people. Look at him. He's out in the open right now. I want bad guys to be afraid of good people. And that's what this game's about, man.
I love that, man. And let's wrap things up. Let's bring it back to the Protector Symposium and why this is so important. Hey, this is for like super badass, super soldier, SWAT cop, as it is for potentially soccer mom who is like, I want to get real with it. Will they both feel comfortable with the caliber of training, of the caliber of instructors, and what is actually going to be disseminated in that platform? Can both of these people feel welcome?
100%. The Protector Nation is the name I chose for this brand and this company because it's a nation, man. And we all come at this thing from different places of experience, different backgrounds. But the instructors we choose, I mean, and Jared Mohonkey, man, like he can teach anyone and everyone across the spectrum. And the reason I chose small classes, max around 10 people in a class, maximum of like 13 in a class, is because you're going to get high touch experiences with these professionals so they can meet you where you're at and they can manage you where you're at and make sure you're getting these types of instructors. You're not going to get in a class of 10 of them ever, anywhere, at any point. That's a huge value add. And so whether you're just starting out and you're the soccer mom or you're a SWAT guy, these guys will meet you where you're at and they'll be able to coach you where you're at and get you something where you're at. And especially with the format of soft skills Friday, hard skills Saturday, Sunday, you're going to be getting the software and the hardware, because in every single one of these altercations we've talked about, I start off on the soft skill plane, and those soft skills could have avoided or stopped that violence from coming that person's way. Now we end up on the hard skill plane. We need to know what to do, and these instructors.
The world descends.
Oh, sorry about that.
And yeah, these instructors can bring that to anybody and everybody who attends. And that's kind of the beauty of it, man. We're creating a nation in the world, like a family in the world of people that can protect more efficiently and more effectively.
I think that's really important, that this is an inclusive event. There's something to 100%. Learn from everybody. Plus, man, it's happening in Miami. Come on.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Who doesn't want to go to Miami, bro?
Right? Man, Byron, thank you so much for your time. I want to do this again with you because there are so many things that we discussed today that deserve elaboration from people who can speak honestly about it.
Honestly, man. Awesome, brother. That's such an honor. Man, I've watched your stuff for years, so it's a crazy experience to be on here talking with you. We've crossed paths out there,
yeah, shot
shows and stuff. So it was a matter of time.
Man.
And this is the perfect time, man. So it's an honor to be able to do stuff with you, Paulo, and you guys, man. It's definitely an honor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There are some people here who are like, okay, maybe the Protector Symposium isn't for them this time around, but they want to know more about you, man. How do they find you? How do they communicate with you? What's the best way to get to know Byron Rodgers a little bit more? Guys, this is a smart dude, man. He's a smart dude, and he's a badass, and he's got like samurai tendencies, right? He's a true like scholar, a warrior poet, which, man,
thank you.
You say things like, use humility as a tool, and we need to reward, moments of de-escalation. I love that. Tactical community can use so much more of that kind of spirit. You people.
Thank you, man. No, I appreciate that. Violence is expensive, baby, and there's a lot of chance. The best fighter don't always win. There's a whole lot of chance in that game, bro. You may have been training forever. We've seen it.
Absolutely. So, how do people find you?
Yes, sir.
Where should they look?
Yeah.
First?
So if you're looking for me, a lot of my content comes out first on Instagram. So Byron_Rodgers on Instagram is my primary IG account.
Byron_Rodgers on Instagram.
Yes, that's my primary IG account. You can also find me at byronrodgersmotivation.com. That's my primary website. Those are my two homes. And then also I'm on YouTube. You can just look me up, Byron Rodgers, Executive Protection. Pop up all over the place there as well.
I'm going to have you on again. For sure. We need to discuss some of these things. But thank you very much for your time, brother. I really appreciate it.
Man, it'd be an honor. You just say when, brother. I'll make time and I'll be there. It's an honor. Thanks so much for having me, Paulo. Love what you guys are doing in the world.
Big pleasure. Sure. Peace, man.
Boom.
Woo! All right. That was super dope. Man, Byron, thank you very much for doing what you do. We need to hear more voices like yours. I'm lucky. I get to hang out with like-minded individuals, complete, nuanced humans who operate in this tactical space and make it accessible for literally everybody. So that's my time. The doorbell you just rang are my training partners arriving at the boudoir. So I'm going to go train. I'm going to hit you guys up with one last piece of content, and I'll leave you with this. This is all about the Protector Symposium coming up real soon in October in Miami. And there are some incredible individuals in this lineup. So my name is GN. Hey, if you appreciated this podcast, let me know. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. And if you missed some of this, if you're just joining, you really need to play this. You need to play this back and watch the whole thing. But here's the important stuff. Here's what you need to know about the Protector Symposium, founded by the one and only Byron Rodgers.
As the world descends into more and more chaos, we see different threat packages, we see different types of attacks that are more and more effective against the good forces of the world. We realize that law enforcement are not the end-all be-all. They may not be able to get to you in time. They may be too underfunded to get to you in time. How can a civilian learn the skills to protect themselves in such a quickly evolving combat space that used to be our homes, right? How can law enforcement professionals keep up with the trends and changes in tactics? How can private security professionals keep up with the changes, the trends, and the tactics, the evolution of our many different battle spaces we traverse, some of us knowing it and some of us not having any idea? The answer to this equation is a live event I've put together called the Protector Symposium. The Protector Symposium is one event where I bring together the best, the top, the most elite trainers in the world to give you a synergy of skills to help protect yourselves, your loved ones, your clients, or those you've sworn to protect. These events are no joke, they're hardcore, so buckle up, and if you want to learn it all in one place, keep watching. Check out what we've got for Protector Symposium 4.0. This is something the world has never seen before. For this event, we've got an all-star cast. As always, Lieutenant Colonel Grossman. He's the author of some groundbreaking seminal books on combat, on killing. He helps you understand the psychology of combat, what you're going to experience, what the enemy's going to experience, and everything around those topics so that you can be as efficient and effective as you can, as possible when you're faced with actual real life violence. If you haven't gotten his books, you need to get them. He has been speaking to organizations and corporations and agencies around the world for many years now, not to mention his own military career. And so it's an honor to have Lieutenant Colonel Grossman in the house to teach the soft skills portion. Now, the other instructors we have will be teaching hard skills and soft skills. So you'll learn from all these guys from the podium in the auditorium and also hands-on on the field, on the range. We're going full bore into combatives and personal protection. The subjects and topics we have are broken into two different categories this year: integrated combatives and vehicle-centric combat operations. How do you go from hand-to-hand tactics to using a firearm to even drawing and implementing a blade, right? How do you do these things efficiently and effective? We've got two of the world's top trainers coming in to teach. The first one is Tony from Real World Tactical. He is a beast. The man is a monster, and he's one of my favorite influencers because he represents for the big boys in the game. He can move, he's agile, he's strong, he will fight you, he will shoot at you, he's capable. He's a full spectrum warrior, and he's got what he's got out here in his physical body. He's got more than enough up here with decades of experience, training many different agencies all over the United States. Tony has literally established a pedigree of instruction and a pedigree of professional that I believe is a contribution that is more like legacy work than anything else. Tony, as a human being, is a really cool guy, but his training is going to take you to the next level. It's going to be hard, it's going to be intense, and there's nothing about anything that we're going to be doing on the range or even in the mat rooms for this training operation that has to do with just a square range. So it's an honor for us to be able to learn from Tony. This is legendary, you guys. The next one we have coming up for integrated combatives is Jared Mohonkey. Jared Mohonkey is another amazing instructor with an amazing background in military, law enforcement, SWAT, all that stuff. He currently teaches internationally. He teaches a number of different agencies and organizations around the world integrated combatives. He's got some of the highest ranks when it comes to different knife fighting systems and martial arts systems, and he's going to be taking us through the paces of understanding how to implement all of those things, from hand to hand to firearms to blades, all those different things. So you're going to get two top of the line instructors on integrated combatives in one place. This is going to be amazing. And then on the other side, vehicle-centric combat operations. How do you fight in a car and how do you fight around a car? To teach us how to fight inside a car, we've got none other than the infamous Craig Douglas, aka South Narc. He has been training agencies and different police departments internationally inside the United States, all over the world for decades as well. And he has some of the most realistic training. You are going to sweat, you're gonna bang, you're gonna roll, you're gonna shoot, you're gonna do all these things with none other than the infamous Craig Douglas, and it's an honor to have him back. He helped us with our last Hard Skills Intensive, and his training was something that I will never forget for the rest of my life. Now, to teach us how to fight around our vehicles, we're gonna have the living legend Mike Pannone in the house, y'all. And he's another amazing instructor with an amazing pedigree from Delta Force and the unit to the Marine Corps, one of the stakeholders for the Air Marshal program. He's been literally teaching different government agencies as well as police departments all over the United States, all over the world for years now. One of the first guys, doing contracting in the Iraq war and stuff like that. He is a personal friend, a man I really respect, and someone who I know is going to deliver training to you guys that's not just about fun, but it's about competency. All of these instructors are all about competency and putting in the work. So if you're looking for one event that's going to be something that the world's never seen before, an opportunity of a lifetime, literally to learn from all of these amazing living legends in one place, it's going to be the Protector Symposium 4.0 taking place this October 1st through the 3rd in Southern Florida. Do not miss it. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event. I will be your host. I will be training with you. I'll be learning with you. I'll be sweating with you, Byron Rodgers, and we are going to take our protection skills to the next level. So whether you're in law enforcement, you're a private security professional, or you're just a responsible civilian that wants to understand the art of protection on a very, very high and competent level, join us for this live event. It's going to be something that you better not miss it. I look forward to seeing you guys out there. This is Byron Rodgers, protector by nature and by trade, reminding you to be peaceful but not harmless. I can't wait to train with you.